12th of January, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Okay. Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshivat Tamanavshi, Yerushalayim Kirev Zoom. This is our first year in the morning, Pierke Avos. We're going further in the fifth parak and the Mishnah number 10 in the fifth parak. We're learning Derech HaChaim. That's the Maharal Prague, his explanation of the Mishnah Arba medos ba'adam. There are four characteristics, attitudes that people have. You should probably have the document I sent out a little while ago. Let's see. Okay. Who would like to read a bit? We'll start again from the beginning. This is a new document. And anyone would like to volunteer?
I do.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Arba medos ba'adam kule. Four characteristics of a person, etc. Efshar lomar he samcha ha mishnah lechan. So it's possible to say, what is samcha?
Something which is samach is adjacent or attached to, something which is attached or connected to.
Okay, so attached to the Mishnah from here.
Right, meaning one of the general themes of the Maharal Prague in his explanation, his commentary in Pierke Avos, is the connection between one Mishnah and another, or Mishnah, one set of Mishnayos and other Mishnayos. So, I mean, actually, to tell you the truth, it's really something which the Rishonim many times you'll see it Tosfos many times. The first Tosfos in a new Masechta will many times speak about why this Masechta was following the previous Masechta. You see that in Makkos, you see that in Baba Kama, and that was a way of, first of all, remembering what you're learning. And don't forget that at the time of the Yomura Mishnayos, that writing, first of all, there was a tekufa when it was forbidden to write down Torah Bel Peh Bichlal, and then don't forget, even if it was mutter to write it down, doesn't mean you had access to all those highly technical and technologically developed things such as paper and writing utensils. That was high technology going back, not so many hundreds of years, right? Writing materials and writing instruments are very technically advanced. Not everyone had. First of all, not everyone. Majority of the population was not even literate. They couldn't even read or write bichlal. I mean, okay, we Hashem, the Jewish people, we even the Goyim call us the people of the book. We always have had because that's the way that we have been taught and the way that the Torah is preserved, is for teaching and learning. But many times people had to learn things Baal Peh because there simply weren't the available resources that they had things written down. So part of remembering what you're learning is the order and the arrangement of the things, the Mishnayos and the Gemuras. So as I said, even Tosfos mentions many times, other Rishonim as well, why this particular parak follows another, or why this particular Mishnah is here rather than someplace else. So the Maharal also, following suit, one of the main themes that you see in his commentary on Pierke Avos is he'll go through make efforts to explain why this particular Mishnah is situated next to another particular Mishnah. So that's what he's saying here. It's possible to explain why this Mishnah, that there are Arba medos ba'adam, is situated next to the previous Mishnah. If you remember, the previous Mishnah was talking about why Peronius come into the world, right? The various different things, and one of the primary things which caused the calamities to come into the world was Gezel Matasinim, that people would also show they would not give the proper tithes, they wouldn't take challah properly, they wouldn't keep shmita properly. So a lot of what the previous Mishnah was discussing was the connection between people's stinginess and the prevalence of calamities in the world. So here there's a connection between that topic and the topic we're discussing now, which are the four basic attitudes that people have between themselves and other people, and their ability to give or to receive. So there's a logical connection between the previous Mishnayos and this Mishnah we're discussing now. Okay.
He amar lemala, he hadavar ba leolam mipnei gezel.
That's Dever. That's the pestilence. Dever, not Dover, but Dever.
Oh, Dever. Ki hadever ba leolam mipnei gezel. Okay, I see. It's as it says above. Pestilence comes into the world because of theft.
Of the poor. Theft, Gezel Matnasanim.
Matanos aniim. Theft of the gifts of the poor.
Right, exactly.
Umidazos he ba'a kasher hu omer shelcha shali. And this mida, it comes when someone says, "What is yours is mine." Ulachach.
So let's just understand the connection there, right? We got through saying previously in the previous Mishnah that whenever pestilence comes into the world because of stealing the gifts that belong to the anim. Person's supposed to give, he has a chiyuv to give certain tithes and gifts to the anim, and he withholds that, and that amounts to stealing from the poor. And what's the root cause of that? The root cause of that is this attitude, shelcha shali. What's yours is mine. Really, the gifts that you're supposed to give to the poor belong to the poor. You happen just to be blessed by a Kadosh Baruch Hu to be able to decide which poor person you want to give it to, right? But it doesn't really belong to you. So by withholding the giving of the gifts to the poor, you're stealing from them. And what you're really saying is shilcha, meaning what's yours, what belongs to you, the poor person, shali, I'm taking for myself. So that's the attitude, which is the basis for the gezel matnas enim. So this is also a big kiddush. It's not so overt as actual gezel. A person who's a gazlan, he's a robber, he's a gazlan. He actually takes for something what belongs to somebody else. That's very overt, and that he taking what is somebody else's and is making it his. But here, this is something which really he had the produce or the various things that had to be given to the Indian, and he's supposed to separate it out and give it to the Indian, but he withholds that, and so it's also a form of gezel. That's number one. And then number two, it's also the expression of the shilcha, what's yours is mine, I'm making to be for me. Okay, let's continue on.
Ulachach hu gozel aniim kasher ein midak dak al mamon chavero behu rasha. And therefore, he steals from the poor people because he's not careful with the money of his friend. He is a wicked person.
Right.
What does that mean? He's not medakdek. He's not careful with his money of his friend.
Again, you don't have to, again, like, we don't have to be going to the extreme case where a person's an actual robber, he's a thief, a pickpocket, right? But simply, he's not careful about what belongs to other people. There's a Gemara in it's the first parak in Psachim. I've forgotten. First parak in Psachim. I might be wrong about that, but there was a theft. Someone had stolen a silver goblet. Someone sold a kiddush cup, a silver kiddush cup. So they were trying to locate the thief. So the Rav, he noticed that in the bathhouse, in the mikvah, was a certain yeshiva student there, a bachur, and he wasn't careful about other people's belongings. He would use other people's towels. Right? Maybe he didn't have a towel himself, and he would use other people's towels. So he took this bachur aside and started beating him until he questioned him, and he admitted to being the thief that stole the kiddush cup. So the Gemara goes into it a little bit, and it comes out because it asked what right did he have to start beating him, right? There was only a chashash, but the Gemara concludes, since he saw that this person wasn't medakdek in the moment of chaveh of other people, he wasn't careful about what other people's belongings were and how he treated them. So we understood that this person is a gazlan. He steals. It doesn't matter if he steals a little bit or he steals a lot. Person has a towel, and it's his own personal towel, and the person goes ahead and uses it. That's gezela, using something that belongs to somebody else without their reshus. Right? Sometimes it's mutter. It depends on what it is, and if you know the person's makbid or not. But if you know the person's makbid, and it's something of value, you can't use other people's belongings. And if you go ahead and use other people's belongings, you're not medaktik, you're not careful, you're not scrupulous about respecting the rights of other people in terms of their possessions. So that amounts to gezela.
V'gesh lamar gam kain she'baal mida zos she'eno rotze letate matanos aniim. And there is to say, or there are those who say, also.
This would yesh laomer would mean there is to say. Yesh omrim would be there are those that say. Yesh laomer is there is to say.
Okay. There is to say also that someone who is a person who has this characteristic strongly, he doesn't want to give gifts to the poor. Yomar gam kain kishem she'ein ani rotze le mamon b'mamon achar kach lo aten mishali ulechach samcha acherim arba medos v'kule. So they also say that someone who is not someone who does not say I want with other money, thus he does not give what is his, and therefore it's attached to the other four medos.
I mean that, okay, again, so this person that says Shalcha Shali, right? It's you can say that he's also a person who doesn't want to give the matnas in the him. Yomar Gam Ken Kashem She'ein Ani Rotza B'Momen Acher Kach Lo Etein Mishali. Just like I'm not interested in money from somebody else, right? I can say that I'm not willing to give any of my money to somebody else as well. Therefore, they attach this Mishnah of the Gezel, the Dever comes because of the Gezel of Matnas Aniyim to the Mishnah of Arba Midas Ba'adam. Okay.
Okay, v'yesh lish'ol ma she'amar shelcha shali, and there is to ask, what about the one who says, what is yours is mine? V'shali shalach, and what is mine is yours. Im haaretz. I'm haaretz. It's an ignorance. Lema baal mida zos. What? Oh, lama. What is this? Is this mida? Nikra im haaretz. Nikra Am Haaretz. He's called an Am Haaretz. Kasher Omer Shali Shalcha V'Shalcha Shali. He's called an Am Haaretz because he says, "What is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine." The Lama Ein Zos Mida Beinoni Beinonis. And why don't we call this the in between mida? Kamo shalcha shalach v'shali shali, like the one that says what is yours and what's mine is mine.
Right. So what's the question is, what's really so bad when a person says shalcha shali, yours is mine, v'shali shalcha, and what's mine is yours? Why is that an attitude, an ignorant attitude? I'm a aretz here is someone, I guess, is in this context, we'll say he's probably ignorant. He's uneducated, unfounded in his opinion. Why should that be considered specifically an Am Haaretz? Why isn't it maybe at least Beinanis that when a person says Shalcha Shalach and Shali Shali, that's Beinanis according to some opinions. So why shouldn't this also be considered at least Beinanis? So what's going on?
Especially since yesterday we said that it doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean everything that's mine is yours and everything that's yours is mine. It doesn't mean that.
Right.
So
There's no,
it sounds like it's actually a medos tov to me. I mean, it's people are being unselfish. They're saying, I'll give to you, you give to me, we'll share, everybody will be happy.
right.
He seems as though he's saying he's making a demand. What is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine. So that's what it sounds like to
I
me.
mean, it has to be reciprocal. It can't be a one-way street.
Yeah, he hasn't got the right to determine what you're going to do with your belongings.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So that could be his ignorance, the fact that he thinks he has a right to demand of other people.
Possibly.
Could be. I hear. Very good. Okay. Let's see. Very good.
Perush davar zeh ki kasher omer shali shel ha ein mida zot sheomer shali shel ha mipnei shehu nadiv v'tov lev ulechach omer shali shelcha she'ein hanadiv mivakesh min acherim davar. Okay, the explanation of this is that when he says what's mine is yours, this is not a characteristic.
Or like an attitude. In this case, like an attitude.
It's not an attitude that he says what's mine is yours because he what is nadiv?
Nadiv is the generosity.
Because he's generous. And he has a good heart.
You might think it sounds like you were just saying. It sounds very generous. Shalish Shlocha, right?
Right.
Mine is yours. You might think that he's a very generous person.
Right. So don't
explaining that this attitude is not stemming from generosity.
Therefore, he says, what is mine is yours. He's not generous. He requests from his friend something. Aval, what is this word? Kalo? Ki'ilu. It's as if Omer, Shali Shalcha, Kedei, Sheyeh, Gam Kain, Shalcha Shali. V'yeh, Mamoni, Mamoncha, Mamoni. But it is as if he says, what's mine is yours, in order that it should be also what's yours is mine.
That's their motivation. They're saying what's mine is yours in order that they should be able to say reciprocally that what's yours is mine. So mine is yours, and also I can say what yours is mine as well. I mentioned at least once. You probably heard, maybe you heard this story before yourself. I'm not mistaken. I think it was Rothschild during the French Revolution. I'm not sure. I think the French Revolution, right? So a mob came to his house, middle of the night with torches, and they were about to burn down his house, his mansion, and loot it. So he came out onto his porch, and he said to the group, he said, "Who are the leaders here? Who I want to talk? I want to talk to the leaders. Who are the leaders?" Right. So like two guys came up. They said, "Come into the house. Come into the house." So he sits them down in his study, and he asked them, well, what's going on? What do they want? How can he, maybe he can help them? He says, "What's yours is ours, and what's ours is yours. We're all together. Everyone shares together. For the benefit of the Medina, the benefit of the country. We all share. We all share." So he said, "Okay, you want to share? Everyone has to share the wealth. You have to share the wealth, right?" He says, "Yes, you're a rich man. You have to share your wealth. Have to share your wealth." So I said, "Okay." So he said, "Okay, how much? How rich do you think I am? How much do you think I own? How much do you think my wealth is?" So I shout out some figure, and tell me how many Frenchmen are in the country. So like this, so he said, he said, "You're worth 5 million francs." And he said, "How many Frenchmen in the country?" 5 million Frenchmen. So he said, "Okay, listen, we want to share, right? So here's 1 franc for you and 1 franc for the other guy, right? And okay, go your way." Because they weren't after that, right? They were after getting all his money, and the few people that would control his money would be the rich ones, and everyone else would remain poor. But that's not what they were after. They were after not equality. They were after just trying to get rich themselves. So that's similar to the thing we're saying over here. He's saying, "Shali shulcha," mine is yours, in order that he can turn around and say, right, "Shulcha shali." So the motivation is really to get something from the other person. Not that he's interested in giving so much.
It's interesting here that Rabbi Bunim is putting a political slant on this, equating it with communism.
Oh yeah, okay.
But it's quite a long article, so I won't read it. But that's what he does, and points out that communism wasn't the first time that this attitude was espoused. In previous times in history, there's also with the Essenes and other people, and all their societies just fell by the wayside eventually because of their politics. So he's saying that it's not. It's it's an ignorant attitude to have. Anyway, so but he goes into it, of course, quite a bit.
Look, if you want to read it over on Shabbos and give us a summary next week, that'll be okay.
Oh yeah, my summary would probably be bigger than the article itself.
Okay, but fine. All right. The question is, however, I mean, if the motivation in saying "shali shalcha," what's mine is yours, is really in order that you want to say, conversely, right, "shalcha shali." So, does that really amount to ignorance, amaratzis? Seems like it's sort of a a disguised ploy of trying to get something from somebody else.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm not sure where the Amaratzis comes from in this case. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll explain.
I
Maybe
think
he's trying to be nice.
it's because of what I said before, that
You know what?
that it's if the motivation is a positive motivation,
Mhm.
that you want to do good for people, you want to benefit society, then it's ignorant because it's not going to work.
I see.
I mean,
Well,
It takes in our human nature.
right. It's sort of not facing the facts of human nature. Okay.
Right.
Okay, I hear you right. Very good. That could be a good point. All right, let's see how the Maharal continues on with his explanation.
V'alzo zeh amar she mida zos he mida shel haaretz. And concerning this, it is said that this attitude is an attitude of the ignorant. Ki im haya lo shechol v'chakama. I don't know this word, this last word before the comma.
That key. This is Balzeh Amar Mida Zos Mida Amar. On this attitude, it's an attitude of an ignorant person. Why? Ki im haya sachil v'chachma. If he was intelligent and wise, right, from chachma, seichel, from seichel, intelligent, chachma and wise. If he was intelligent and wise,
Haseichel v'hachachma nosein shekol asher hu le'adam hu shelo. His intelligence and his wisdom give to everybody that a man to a man is his.
right? That intelligence and wisdom determines. No saying in this case means determines. Intelligence and wisdom determines that everything that is to a person belongs to him. Wisdom and intelligence determines that whatever a person has is his. Meaning, and you see this very clearly in children. Try and take something away from a 2-year-old. You can have a big fight on your hands.
Right.
Right? Try and explain it to him. Try and explain to him that where did he get the rattle from where did he get the lollipop from anyway? The father just gave him the lollipop, right? So how could it be 10 seconds after the father gave him the lollipop, the father comes along and takes it, the kid's up in arms about that? Where did you get the lollipop to begin with?
But don't we in fact do that with the rattle? We give them the rattle and then we come and we say, you need to share. You need to let your friend use the rattle also.
Right. That we have to teach him to share. He's not willing to share on his own. There are very few people that, unless they're gifted with a real teva of being generous, and most people are not, at least at the beginning. Most people are not willing to share, right?
Right, but that doesn't mean that's the proper way to be.
No, right, exactly, right. But you have to be taught that way, because the person is by nature. Most people are born to a certain degree of selfishness, which is really a necessity, right? Certainly a necessity to have certain sense of selfishness, of possessiveness, right? But you see that at the youngest age, until they're taught, right, that it's a good thing to share. And not only that, it's also they have to be intelligent enough to say, well, the father says, look, I gave you the lollipop 10 minutes ago. I gave you the lollipop, and now I want to take it back, because you've had enough lollipop for now. It's time to brush your teeth and go to sleep, right? So at one point, children can start understanding that, right? But sometimes they're too young to understand those things, and they don't even realize that that maybe the person who gave the lollipop to them should be listened to. Right? They don't always have that enough intelligence and wisdom to come to that conclusion.
Right, but we don't want to base our society on the philosophy of a 2-year-old.
I understand, but you have to. But as Roy was saying, you have to face facts. That most people, you're not gonna base a society on the fact that what belongs to you is mine, right? And what belongs to me is yours, right? Because that's simply denying the basic premise that a person what he has really belongs to him.
But aren't we in fact saying, when we give him the rattle and his friend comes over, we're saying the rattle is yours, but you need to share it with your friend. Therefore, we're saying that what is yours, the rattle, is his. For a limited duration, a limited amount of time while he's visiting you, you need to share it with him.
Right. So that's because you're sharing, but you're still keeping the possession. Here they're saying you're losing the possession. Right. So very few people are willing to do that.
But I thought we said before that it doesn't mean everything that's mine is yours. It means that there's a sharing going on.
Well, that was that we said, and that particular content was said in the context of the Yesh Omrim that was Midas Sodom, right? Here we're focusing on the media, on the aspect of Amaratzis. I think he'll touch on this point. He's gonna touch on that point when we go further on. Let's take a little bit further. What time? Ooh, let's see. Can we finish this paragraph? Let's see if we can finish this paragraph at least.
Okay. V'zeh amar shali shelcha, v'shelcha shali, v'eno nosein geder, v'hivdal bein mamon shelo uvein mamon shel acherim rak shehu ze kamo ze. So and this that he says, what is mine is yours, and what is yours is mine. It's not to determine getter as offense.
Yeah, but sometimes it means more abstractly. It means like a limitation.
It's not to establish a limitation and a separation between my money, his money, and the money of his friend, only that this is like this. What is this?
Okay.
Shehuzeh kamozeh.
Right. Rak shava zeh k'mo zeh. It's equal, right? So, right, he says, "V'zeh she'omer sheli shelcha," and that, what he says is, what's mine is yours, v'shelcha sheli, and yours is mine. Ain't in those things getter. That's not giving that's not setting a limitation and a distinction between his money and the money of other people. Rak shava zeh k'mo zeh. Rather, it's making an equality between his things and other people's things.
Bevadai davar zeh yotzei migeder ha-chachma she-ha-chachma misha'aretz hakol lefi haroi lios v'nosein geder lechol davar v'davar. Certainly, this matter removes the
He said, Vadai definitely Dabrazet, definitely this thing, this attitude, Yotzi Megeder HaChokma. It's beyond understanding. I mean, it can't be understood. If you say that these things are, he's trying to equate, meaning when he says what's mine is yours is mine, yet if he's trying to say we all have things, everything is equal, what you have is mine and mine is yours equally, that's definitely beyond understanding. Why? Why is that beyond understanding?
Understand wisdom. I'm sorry. That wisdom. What is this word? Mishe art.
Right. Sha'achma misha'ares hakol lefi haroi lios. That chachma, meaning part of what we've been given wisdom for, using our wisdom, is partly given to us in order that we should understand that there are different values to things, right? If I say what's mine is mine and yours is more yours, so I happen to live in a mansion in Beverly Hills, right? And this fellow happens to live in some hovel in Watts, right? So it makes sense that what his is mine and what mine is his. Doesn't make sense. A mansion's a mansion and the hovel's a hovel.
Okay. I still don't understand what this word means, though.
No, the sharis is to come to a conclusion, to come to an estimation, an evaluation. Wisdom is given to us in order that we should realize the essential difference between things. That's part of what wisdom's all about. That you understand that there's a difference between different things. Not everything is the same.
So maybe the idea is to equalize everything by mixing it all up and then,
Right.
then doling it out.
Right.
which is as Rabbi Williams says, is the communistic idea, sort of, except it's not.
Okay.
So the purpose, the function of wisdom is to summarize everything, because it's proper to give value to each and everything.
Yeah, you have to set values for each and every different thing, right? Wisdom, not the whole thing, but part of what wisdom has been given to us for is to understand the difference between things and the different values between things. Take the table of elements. Well, how many elements are there? 104, 105. What? Maybe they made some more since then. I don't know.
I'm not sure exactly. The natural elements, I think there's only like around 80 something.
Okay, so people understood through wisdom. They understood that copper is not the same as gold, and silver is not the same as sodium, right? They understood through wisdom that these things have different qualities and they have different values, right? And different ways of measuring the criteria of these various different things. And they came to an understanding that there are these different categories of the things, the elements of the physical universe. So likewise, possessions also, you have to understand that people's possessions, there's a value difference between this person's possessions and another person's possession. So everything's the same.
So in other words, if I have a bunch of gold and you have a bunch of copper, and you say, let's share, you give me your gold, give me some of your gold and I'll give you some of my copper, I'm going to say no, because copper and gold are not the same.
Right. Yeah. A very good example. Very good example.
Okie doke.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that brings us to the end of that paragraph. Good. So, okay, we'll continue Mitzvah Shem next week with the last two paragraphs we netted. Fine. Okay, good. We'll take a little break. We'll still start Mr. Rusher in a few minutes.